It's time to break down some football.
We got to get our mind right. Touchdown, wins.
From the perspective of guys who played in the NFL.
Caught, touchdown!
And a guy who had one really great sack in high school.
Oh, you're so weak. You're a waste of my time.
Greg Camarillo and Marcus McNeil are the pros, and Scraby is the Joe.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Two Pros and a Joe starts right now.
Episode number 4 of Two Pros and a Joe. It is November 17th at 8:30 p.m. That's when we're doing this right now. I am Scraby. I am the Joe. I am joined by my two pros, Greg Camarillo, who played in the NFL 8 years with the Chargers, Dolphins, Saints, and Vikings as a wide receiver, and Marcus McNeil, 6 years with the Chargers at left tackle. And let's start with a big happy birthday to our man Marcus. Happy birthday.
Thank you, man. Bring it on in.
Hey, happy birthday, Big Mac.
Bring it on in. I also wanted to thank Tank Williams for coming on the show last week. That was really fun. He was awesome. He had great insight. He let us into what it's like for the Patriots and what it was like for the Titans. So really appreciate Tank coming on the show. If you want to talk to us through social media, you can. We're all on Twitter. Greg's at Catch Camarillo, Marcus is at Marcus McNeil 73, and I am at Matt Scraby. We are also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Just search the number 2 Pros and a Joe, or again, go to any of our social media platforms. And Two Pros and a Joe, what is it? We just want to talk football. We want to give both perspectives. The pros give this perspective for being on the field, and I ask the questions. So now that all of that is out of the way, I think we need to get into our first segment.
It's time for Two Pros and a Joe to make some big decisions.
All right, guys, big decisions. We've done this every week so far. It is really fun. And we're going to start with one that could get pretty heavy, could get pretty deep. Actually, both of these are deep topics. And what we're going to start with this time is the new diversity rules that the NFL is proposing. I actually don't even think they're being proposed. Are they a done deal, guys?
They're a done deal. They're in motion.
They're in motion. So multiple sources, according to ESPN, who are people of color, told them in recent days that there are at best mixed feelings about a plan approved this past week that will award 2 third-round compensatory draft picks to teams that have minority head coaches or general managers. But here's the catch: hired away from their organizations. So I don't even know really where to start, but let's start with you, Greg. Should the NFL move forward with these, and do you like these diversity rules?
Well, they should absolutely move forward with them. Do I like the specifics? We'll jump into that. But first, I want to give kind of a background, the stats of where the NFL is right now. The NFL is composed of almost 70% Black athletes. So, we're looking at more than 2/3 of the players are Black. 3 of 32 head coaches are Black. That's 9%. Ron Rivera in Washington is the lone Latino Hispanic head coach, representing for my people. Good stuff, Ron Rivera. So there is a big discrepancy as to who's playing and who's coaching and ownership and all that. Something has to be done. So I applaud steps being taken. I have a hard time understanding the format of this situation. So to draw a picture, you've got, I always like to use the New England Patriots because they're always on top of these compensatory picks. If the Miami Dolphins hire a person of color from the New England Patriots, so the Miami's doing the job of evening out the numbers, then the New England Patriots get 2 additional picks.
Well, that would mean Brian Flores, when he got hired away from the Patriots to go to the Dolphins to be their head coach, then the Patriots would be getting 2 third-round compensatory picks.
Which blows my mind. So to me, I get it. They want you to hire people of color at all levels and get them hired at increasing rankings throughout your organization. But the team that is doing the hiring should be the team that is given the bonus. It's sad that you have to give someone a bonus for this, but we're at that point in America where we have to do that. So I think the teams that are doing the hiring should be the ones receiving a pick, receiving financial compensation, doing something to reward them taking the step to make things more even.
It's complicated. What do you think, Marcus? Do you think the NFL should move forward with these diversity rules, and do you agree with them?
I absolutely agree with them. I'm going to jump right on there with Greg. It's about time. when you have over 70% of the league, you know, represented by Black and African Americans, you want to see the coaching staff and the front office to resemble that also, and on so many different levels. And we're not just talking about people who aren't qualified and just going to grab people. If you have 70% of the people who make up the players, then you have an abundance of players who can turn into coaches, abundance of players who can turn into GM front office staff who, to be honest, I feel like knows what it takes to run a team. You know, that's what you need. You have to have somebody who knows what the end of a team need to look like. It starts from the top down, you know, so give them a job, get an incentive. You know what I'm saying? If you're coming, if you're going, give them both two-third round picks.
Give everyone a pick. Huh?
Everybody gets a pick. You know what I'm saying? How do you guys think it's got turned around to where the other team got the compensatory picks? Because I agree with both of you. That's really strange to be awarding another team for something that they didn't really even do.
They had originally thrown out the idea of the team during the hiring getting the picks, and then there was also some backlash on that. So, I mean, any route you take on this, you know, there's going to be somebody that supports it and somebody that doesn't support it. And there's also, it's a 7-step thing. So there's 6 other pillars of support for incorporating more people of color into your organization. The way I look at it is, no matter what you're doing, as long as it's progressing people forward to having more Black head coaches, more people of color in the organization, let's roll with it. And let's look at it each year and try to improve it just like you would do a team.
I think it also gets away of being real cliquish. You know, as we all seen in the NFL, coaching staffs kind of move together. You know, this guy was over here with you, so I'm gonna bring him in because I know him. Or this guy over here, you know what? I know his son. You know, I'm him. You know, like, so I think it kind of just evens the playing field to now. All right, we can have those guys. We're gonna put another candidate in here as well that we feel like is qualified, and then the team has to go and choose and make the decision who's going to be the best candidate there. But you just have to have more seats at the table, to be honest, and that's what they're looking for, and I'm hoping that's what they're inquiring.
Why do you think it's such a problem in the NFL that not as many Black coaches are being hired as head coaches or even assistant coaches? Why do you think that's such a big problem with 70% of the league being Black players?
Just historically, that's just where we're coming from. You know, nothing ever started off perfect. You know, to be honest, you know, everything from professional sports in general had to be integrated, you know, to where now you have more Black people. Now you have more people that you put in a position of power or a position to, you know, succeed. So as the tides continue to change, as more people of color, you know, regardless if it be Black, Latino, you know, regardless of what race, everybody having a fair opportunity to be able to advance. And that's not, to me, just football in general. That's the way our country is going. You know, like, it's a lot of different people out here, and we just want to make sure that everybody has their chance to keep on advancing, especially if they're doing a good job.
Yeah, 100% agree. Now, let me play devil's advocate for 1 second on this, and I'm going to think of Eric Bieniemy. He is the offensive coordinator in Kansas City. Now, would there be some concern that a team is doing it for the picks rather than for the actual reason that this rule is being made for by incorporating more people of color? Like, I would just feel a little weird if I was hired all of a sudden when I've been turned down for a head coaching job, as Eric Bieniemy has a couple times, and all of a sudden now a team wants me.
It was the same thing with the Rooney Rule that you know, teams had to interview a person of color just during the process. But the reasoning behind it is just by getting that interview, just by going through the process, by learning, you know, the interview process, by getting your name mentioned in the media, there's a better chance for you getting hired in the future. And I'll tell you what, if you hire me as a head coach because I'm a Latino male, but I'm still the head coach of that team, I'm cool with it. I'm Greg Camarillo, the head coach. That's going to be all right. And then it's on me to prove myself. So yes, I mean, there will always be somebody that says you just got hired because of this. Just like, you know, people probably told Big Mac the only reason you're in college is because you're playing football. but that's not the truth. We know he's an engineer. He's doing some of our video work.
Yeah, shut up, people. You have no idea.
But there's always going to be the people that are saying the negative side of that. But you got to give folks an opportunity to get the job and improve themselves.
Yeah, if you don't prove yourself, then you don't stay. We all know how the league is a revolving door. So you have to prove yourself week in and week out, and if you don't prove yourself, then you're going to be gone. But at least you get that opportunity to prove yourself.
Yeah, that's very true. Any closing thoughts on this one before we move to our next subject? No. Man, you guys did a good job.
Keep hope alive.
Yes, yes. So the next big decision we're going to be making right now is the New Orleans Saints. Now, on Sunday, they lost their quarterback, Drew Brees. That guy must be the toughest guy in the league, or one of them, because he was playing with broken ribs, collapsed lungs, all this good stuff that many people would not want to go to work with if they had broken ribs and collapsed lungs. So let's talk about that real quick and the injury and everything and how tough that is. And do you guys have any stories from any players that are in the huddle that are, hurting and you guys are like, get off the field because you're going to hurt yourself even more? What do you think about Drew Brees and how tough he is?
Yeah, I got a story of the opposite experience. So I got tackled, I landed on the ball, and I bruised my ribs, and the air got knocked out of me. I thought I was dying, like for sure thought I was dying. I ran to the sideline, like hurled over and went straight to the trainer, and I was like, oh, my ribs. And for at least 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 years, he continued to make fun of me for the way I talked about my ribs. If you hurt your ribs, it feels like death. But for Drew to take it and keep playing, my goodness, that dude, strong as a rock right there. I'm impressed.
My ribs. I think I'm gonna
the air knocked out of you. Come on, Greg. Come on, man.
What about you, Marcus? You were in the trenches. There had to be a point at some time when you were like, ouch, I want to come out of this game.
Man, my first 2 years, I broke my hands. I'm playing every week with broke hands. The second year, I broke both of them. People always want to talk about, oh, you didn't end up with any holding calls. I couldn't hold nothing if I wanted to. Like trying to drink juice like that because I couldn't feel my hands. They're so numb from the shots they put in them that, but you just have to take it, But Drew is a warrior, and that's what you have to be. Every time that something was hurting on me, I battled a few neck injuries, I battled broken hands. I had surgery on Monday and, they screwed it up and put it together. And I was like, hey, is it going to move on me in the game? And they'll tell me, no. And you know what? That was good enough for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, as long as I couldn't hurt it any worse, I think that was the biggest thing, Now, if you have a situation where it can continuously get worse, then you have to pay attention to your health. And I think that's a scary thing about Drew because I don't think he knew how bad it was, having a broken ribs and a punctured lung, you just conditioned to take, and regardless of how bad it hurts sometimes, these warriors go out through it and, hats off to him, but he's cut from a different cloth, bro.
Yeah, I believe he took himself out of the game because there was video of him walking up to Sean Payton, head coach of the Saints, after halftime, and he kind of did the I can't go. Sean Payton said, okay, well, we have a plan. And I'm sure that's what they talked about in the locker room during halftime. Like, come out, throw some, see what you can do. And credit to Drew for, like I know him, credit to Drew Brees for pulling himself out instead of trying to hurt the team by continuing to play and possibly even ending his life. I mean, a punctured lung is no joke. And Drew has a family at home. And Drew has lots of people that love him. And I'm glad that he was able to take himself out of the game.
Man, I saw somebody actually do a demonstration of how they have to pump a lung back up after it's been deflated. And you're like, that's critical right there, man. And he does have a family at home. And I just couldn't imagine, like what might have happened, had he kept on playing, because we all know quarterbacks take shots to the ribs all the time, so it's a good chance he would have took another blow because we all know you can't hit a quarterback in the head and you can't go too low either. So it's a target right now on his ribs.
There is a definite target on his ribs. But let's move to the big decision, which is now what did the Saints do at quarterback, because they don't have Drew Brees for a few weeks. They're saying like 2 to 3 weeks, but I'm thinking it's going to be a little bit longer. You never know with them, but a collapsed lung just sounds so much more serious to me. Marcus, we're going to start with you. Do you put in and play Taysom Hill as your quarterback, or are you going with famous Jameis Winston?
Oh my goodness. That's a tough one. I'm gonna go with Taysom Hill though. I to be honest, he's just a playmaker, and if you put him in the backfield and you get creative, which we all know the Saints can get, I think that you can do a lot more. Jameis Winston, to me, doesn't protect the ball well enough, and that's the one way you can lose. You already have a lead right now, so the one way you can blow it is turn into a team that rallies up a whole bunch of turnovers. And we've all seen teams do that. You start turning the ball over 2-3 times a game, and those W's turn to L's. And right now, with Drew not being there, I think you got to protect that lead. Go with the best player on the field. I just honestly think Taysom Hill is a better football player than Jameis Winston is. And if you keep him off the field, you kind of take the ball out of his hand from doing things that you don't want him seeing, making throws that you don't want to see him trying to make.
Yes. He threw 30 interceptions last year, right? Is that true?
Yeah, 30 for 30, man. That's what
30 for 30.
Call him 30 for 30.
All right, Marcus is going with Taysom Hill. Where are you going, Greg? Are you going with Taysom Hill or Jameis?
I totally agree with Marcus, and kind of for a different reasoning, but when Drew pulled himself out of the game, Jameis Winston went in. And to me, that's because Jameis Winston is only a quarterback and prepares only to be a quarterback. Taysom Hill is on special teams. Mm-hmm. He's in those meetings. He's in the running backs meetings. He's in the tight end / receiver meetings. He has a lot on his plate every week. So to ask him to know everything there is about quarterback and all those other positions is too tough to pull off at halftime. So throw Jameis in there. He's prepared. But now that you have a whole week to get Taysom Hill ready, and then I look at the contract situation. They paid Taysom $21 million for 2 years. You do not pay a man that much money unless you want him to play more than special teams and the occasional tight end. You're paying him to be a backup quarterback. So this is your chance to be a backup quarterback. And the Saints they have a great stretch right now to lose Drew. The Falcons, the Broncos, the Falcons again, and then the Eagles. They have a month of easy games where Taysom Hill can do well, and this is where I totally agree with Big Mac. You can't put Jameis in there and have him throw a bunch of interceptions and blow a game. Put Taysom in there, just let him manage a game. The dude's super athletic. He can make things happen. Let's see what he's got. Make him earn that $21 million.
That's kind of interesting. When I think and look at Taysom Hill, he doesn't seem like he's definitely not the prototypical quarterback. I haven't really seen him throw that much, and we all know the Saints throw a ton. And so to me, it was like a no-brainer when I heard that Drew Brees was going to be out. I thought Jameis Winston is perfect for this offense. He could throw over 5,000 yards, but he can also throw 30 interceptions. So, and Taysom Hill has also been in that team for a long time. So Sean Payton has a plan for him, I would assume.
Yeah, and I don't think they're going to tell us that plan. Keep the competitive advantage. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised, and I actually think this is what's going to happen, even though I want to see Taysom play as a starting quarterback to see if he has it. They're going to mix it up with both of them. That's too hard for the Falcons to prepare for both of them. I mean, both of them can do a decent enough job, and then you can continue to use Taysom as that utility knife kind of tool where he can do a bunch of different things. But I want to see if that guy can play.
What does it do for we'll go in both positions. We'll go offensive line, we'll go wide receiver. For offensive line, what does that do when you have a new quarterback behind you that's not Drew Brees, that you may have had a few snaps throughout the year with, but you haven't taken a lot of time with him behind center or under center, I guess. That's why I'm the Joe.
Well, from the offensive line's perspective, it's a little different because you kind of get used to where your quarterback's going to be on his drops. You know, that's one thing you practice time in and time out. Where is he going to be on the 3, the 5, and the 7-step drop, you know? And quarterbacks are different the way they move around the pocket. So Drew Brees, to me, is one of those guys who likes to get out into the lanes and be able to throw the ball, you know, in those lanes. So that's a little bit different than what I usually see from Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
He's more of a pocket quarterback, less mobile to me than even Drew Brees. So I think a switch up like Taysom Hill, when you have a quarterback that can move better, is explosive, it just it fits a lot better.
Now, on the wide receiver side, Greg, what does that do for the timing of the receivers? Does it help some of the receivers that might not be the Michael Thomases of the team because you may have worked on the side with Taysom Hill or Jameis Winston? Does that help at all?
Absolutely. So it's for the
look
guys
at me.
Yeah, you nailed that. I always made sure that I had good relationships with the backup quarterbacks because they're going to go to their comfort zone. And if you have been running scout team with them, if you've been running routes with them, they know you, and a backup quarterback, he's going to want to go where he's comfortable. And hopefully you've established that. So now I'm watching videos to make sure I confirm this, but is Taysom Hill left-handed? I think he's left-handed.
I think he is. Left-handers look weird when they throw, so I remember him looking weird.
That is incredibly hard for a receiver to get used to quickly, especially a left-handed that throw. It spins the other way and it F's you up. It is left-footed punters are the same way. And that's they talked about Tua being the only left-handed starting quarterback for a long time. But it really throws you off. Just that little bit of spin going the opposite direction makes it difficult. So one, you're looking at chemistry issues because you haven't done that much work together. And in previous podcasts, we've talked that of all the teams I've been on, New Orleans is the only place where I've seen the number one quarterback take the entire reps for all the number one team through the entirety of practice. The number 2 quarterback does not touch the ball. It might be a little different with Taysom Hill. He's there, and I wasn't now back when Drew was there. But that, there's a lack of chemistry with the second quarterback, and then the left-handed quarterback, oh my goodness, it would blow my mind. But, he's got some great receivers, man. Just throw it to Michael Thomas somewhere near his body.
All right. Can we get into Michael Thomas for a second? Because I'm a fantasy football. I know we're not a fantasy football podcast, but it all relates. Why is he not getting the ball?
Because he's punching his teammates.
Wait,
you think
that's
he hasn't been there much this year. He started out hot and then he was injured. Then he was punching a teammate and getting suspended. So, you just get used to not having him there, and you can't just come back and suddenly throw him the ball 24 times in a game. You got to get the feel back for him. But,
he's predicted 16 points last weekend, and he got 3.7, okay?
Well, you're missing your number one quarterback for half the game. That hurts, man.
That hurts.
Michael Thomas is Drew's security blanket. Taysom Hill is going to have a different security blanket, guaranteed.
I don't like the sound of that whatsoever. But, that is something that's interesting for the Saints moving forward. If they can get Michael Thomas back at full strength, they already have Alvin Kamara, who's awesome, and he's probably the best running back in the league. Sorry, Dalvin Cook. But we could have that debate real quick. What do you guys think?
Tough.
Is that Alvin Kamara or Dalvin Cook?
If I'm starting the team tomorrow, I got Kamara first. No question.
You got to take Cook. Are you serious?
No way.
Do you see the way
the offensive lineman talking?
Do you see the way he runs between the tackles? Like, you want a guy who can hit the hole like that, jump, skip, hit a hole and accelerate. Kamara is great, but besides his hands being probably a little bit better than me than Dalvin Cook's, I just love the way Dalvin Cook runs the ball.
That's why we got an offensive lineman out here to talk about between the tackles.
I like it.
We don't even know what goes on in there, man. Throw the ball out to the outside.
Yeah, even last night on Monday Night Football between the Bears and the Vikings, Dalvin Cook had almost 100 yards rushing against one of the best rushing defenses in the league. And it took him all game for him to get his 98 yards.
Sometimes it's like that. It's never easy, but you have to have a back that can take that wear and tear on you. It's nobody else up there besides. Well, I can't say that. Dalvin Cook, he has some other players around him too, but he's put that team on his back right now. He's put that team, and even to put up 98 yards against the Chicago Bears over there with Khalil Mack, that's tough right there. That's tough running. 2 off of 100, I'll take it. Round it up.
Yeah, round it up. I'm with you on that. Why not just go from 98 to 100? Back to the Saints real quick. I was just saying that if they can get Michael Thomas back in the mix, and they already have Alvin Kamara, and they have Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston, and then Drew Brees comes back, this could be a Super Bowl team right here. It could be a Super Bowl team.
When they have all those pieces together, they're hard to slow down. They'll definitely be a playoff team if they can keep that unit healthy and together. And then you never know, when you get Drew into the playoffs, good things can happen.
Yeah, definitely
with this being his last year, he's playing well. This possibly being his last year coming off of him.
Did we just break news, Marcus? Did we?
No. We're going off of him thinking about retiring last year and that being the big news last year. Is Drew going to retire? So him coming back this year, it's a possibility that he can come, and retire at the end of this season. So if he does come back at the end in the playoffs, then we know all his chips are in. He's all in. So a quarterback as good as Drew Brees playing like that, you're right. It could be a Super Bowl contending team.
I think that's it for our big decisions. Good stuff there. Now we're going to move into some of the other topics around the NFL. And Greg posted one of our videos on his Facebook last week, and he got a lot of great response from people. And I believe Scott McVeigh, that was who asked this question, right? He asked a pretty awesome question. And if you have any questions, please ask any of us on social media, again, at Catch Camarillo, at Marcus McNeil 73, at Matt Scraby. But his question was, what's the difference between teams that win close games versus teams that blow close games? Which I think is a fantastic question. And the Los Angeles Chargers are the shining example of blowing close games. This is the 7th time this year that they've lost to a one-score game.
Yeah, they are giving us week in and week out ways to analyze this question. So it's really, what are the intangibles? That's what Scott asked. What are the intangibles? Because there's no mathematical way to look at, are you a team that blows leads and gives up games, or are you a team that comes back and wins them? So I guess Marcus and I can kind of go back and forth on this.
Yeah.
But to me, it's about belief. Are you a team that believes you can win no matter the situation? Or are you a team that panics and it's like, oh shit, how are we going to blow this one? And both Marcus and I, we were talking pre-podcast, his rookie year, 2006? 2006. We were both on the Chargers together. We were 14-2. It was one of the most enjoyable seasons. It was the most enjoyable season I'd ever been part of, because no matter what the team faced, we believed we could come back and win it. We had great come from behind wins in Cincinnati, I think Indianapolis. Like, it was just fun, and there was never any panic. And that's where I'll stop my first one. But DeAndre Hopkins, who just scored, and we'll talk about his catch, one of the greatest last-second catches ever, said in his interview, never panic. If I were on the Cardinals in that situation, I might have panicked. He said never panic, and to me, that's what it comes down to.
What do you think, Marcus, about those? What do you think about teams that win close games and teams that blow close games?
It comes down to the management of the game. If you have a game, there's so many plays that lead up to those final plays that you kind of just forget about. You see the big catch at the end, and that's all you're going to think about, and that's the sum up of that game. But there's so many things that go into the whole game. That's why football is the game of inches. So the people that pay attention to making sure they win every down over the entire course of the game, those are the teams that are going to win. And it takes a big play, at the end. It takes a big play in that moment, and you can't really shy away from that moment. And I think that's one of the best things that we had about our team back in 2006 was nobody was afraid to make that moment happen, whether it was special teams, whether it was a big play from the receivers, whether it was a big run. I'm talking about everybody was waiting for their chance for their number to be called, and there wasn't no fear. So you can't have that fear when you're going out there. You have to know that every play counts, and you take it one play at a time.
And to go on top of that, I totally agree with Marcus saying it. And it's a matter of put this on my back, but within the realm of my job. You'll see guys that often try to do too much and things backfire. A quarterback trying to squeak a ball downfield that's not open, it turns it into an interception. It's really put it on my back, but I'm just going to run my regular route. Or, let Big Mac on 4th and 1, run the ball behind him. He's just going to do his regular job. not trying to do too much. And then Big Mac also mentioned that it starts with the management, and he meant the management of the game, I believe is what he was talking about. But I also think it's management of your team and how coaches handle the day in and day out. Do they put you in situations in practice where you're behind the 8 ball and you got to work yourself out? You practice that. And I had two good quotes from coaches. One is clear the mechanism. So no matter what's going on in your brain, clear your mechanism and start over. Start from scratch. It may be 4th and 1 with the game on the line, but start from scratch. Just like do your job. And I used to think that was an amazing quote that he came up with until I learned that Kevin Costner said in a baseball movie. And I felt misled for years. I was like, oh man, my coach is a genius. He stole it from a movie, man.
Was that Bull Durham?
It was For the Love of the Game.
Oh, For the Love of the Game. Okay.
Yeah, I had to Google it. But yeah, man, I was heartbroken when I found out that he stole that quote from somewhere else. But I love the quote. And the other one was stop the bleeding. When you're bleeding, when things suck, and just like my Big Mac said, somebody has to step up and stop the bleeding. You know, somebody put it on their back, do your job, and stop the bleeding. And if you combine all those things that we just talked about, I think that's what puts a team in a position to always have belief to come back and win.
Yeah. Hey, you can see it in their eyes too, Scraven. I'm gonna keep it real with you. You can see it in their eyes. Like when you look on the sideline before it's a big drive and before it's a big plays, you can see the guys that are tuned in and locked in, you know, and then you can see the guys,
really interesting.
And then you can see the guys who kind of got like a little worry and a doubt on their face, you know, and those, like whoever has the guy with the doubt on their team or that little, just that little bit of doubt, you know what I'm saying, is just enough for you to get mossed, you know what I'm saying, for that last play of the game, because it's another guy that's going to be on that other team that's like, this is my shot right here. Like, this is my chance right here, and I'm about to go get it, you know. So it depends on which dog you have in that fight, you know, and it comes down to, it may just be one play out of 73 plays on offense can depend the whole fate of the game.
As a fan, you could watch the quarterbacks too. You watch and see if they have it or not. You get the ball with 47 seconds and you got to go 80 yards. Some QBs love that. It's like, oh, yeah, here we go. And then the other ones, like Coach Mac, Big Mac said, they look a little scared. Oh, man, you know it's not happening.
Did you see when Nick Foles went out the game yesterday?
And he was so relieved.
but
my so relieved.
But they had what? I mean, they only had a few seconds left, but they had a chance
like 40-something seconds.
Yeah, 40-something seconds. But I'm thinking that, you know, the backup quarterback is going to come in there and at least try. The last play of the game, he threw the ball out of bounds. Like,
he did.
That poor guy.
That's your shot, bro.
You got one shot. This isn't the time to throw the ball out of bounds. Like, this is the time you could throw an interception and we'd be like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Like,
he doesn't want that stat, man. He doesn't want 0 touchdowns and 1 career. And he's like, I'm gonna take 3.
One attempt.
I take a pick.
1 attempt, 1 completion, interception. You know.
Yeah, we don't even need to talk about the Bears because they've done everything themselves to make them look terrible. And it was really funny last night. Nick Foles, he did take a pretty big fall. I'm just gonna say this: I like Nick Foles as a person. I met him one time actually with your guys' former teammate Nick Hardwick when we were in the Super Bowl in Minnesota. Came walking down the hall, big dude, really big dude, and he was thrown around like a rag doll last night. But what I'm trying to say is, I know we're getting off topic from the teams that win close games, but he doesn't look like an NFL quarterback anymore. And he doesn't look like he really wants to be in there. I think he's feeling like his life is in his hands when he's out in that field. So I don't know what the Bears do with that. He's got a big contract. He's going to want to play it out for the money, but he does not look comfortable on the field.
Big contract. That's the hard part. And I mean, he's clearly not a franchise quarterback for anyone at this point because 2 teams have tried it out. It's not the answer. At some point, you just got to eat the contract and try to find your guy. And they are trying hard in Chicago to find their guy, and they are yet to do it.
Yeah, Nick Foles isn't that guy. I'm sorry. You know, he came in, I think he was a guy that they thought could be that franchise quarterback for him, but he just doesn't look for it. And the way he got ragdolled yesterday, I thought it was a lot more than the hip pointer. I'm not going to lie to you. I thought
it was his back.
Yeah,
He
I thought
back,
I thought it might have been a low back injury. But the way he got slung to the ground, it looked like he was a crash dummy in one of those old commercials. Like this slow motion and that.
And then that camera, the eye on the sky camera, like had the worst video of him because he's lying on the field. And honestly, I was like, is he moving his legs? And I was being seriously thinking about that. And I'm like, that is embarrassing. No one's gonna meme this 100 million times of him lying on the field.
I got to give him some love for having the awareness to throw the ball in that situation. You can't take a sack. That's the one thing you can't do. And that's what a veteran QB, I love that he went out trying to throw an incompletion to keep his team alive.
Yeah. That was Matt Nagy's boy. So that's why they got him in there. They tried to make it work. I think they believe in Matt Nagy and his offensive guruism coming from up under Andy Reid, the type of offense that they ran over there in KC. I just feel like that they felt like they could make something happen with Nick Foles. They took a shot and it didn't happen.
While we're talking about that game, I gotta from my years as a Viking playing against the Bears when they had Devin Hester and now it's Cordero Patterson.
Yeah. Do
not kick the ball to anyone that is a record-breaking returner. He went into a special teams meeting in Minnesota with Devin Hester, the best who has ever done it, and the coach literally starts the meeting with, "We are going to kick him the ball and we are going to cover." And what did he do? He scored a touchdown against it. Don't do it. Do not kick a ball to somebody that good.
You want to challenge him to do it, he's going to do it.
Oh, it's gross. Just kick it away, kick it out of bounds. Do not kick him the ball.
You got one job. You got one job. Do not kick him the ball, please.
Not the ball.
And that's got to be demoralizing on a sideline when you're trying to win a game and you're actually a position player, and then all of a sudden that guy comes out and runs back 104-yard kickoff to start the half, and you're like, really? That's what we got to deal with right now?
And you're exhausted because you just ran 60 yards to go tackle him, and it's 60 yards chasing him. And then
God, do you know how good it feels after a kickoff return? Because offensive line, I'm getting up off the bench. I'm tired. I'm hot. I'm fat. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm about to go out here and do another 12. You know what I'm saying? And then the guy starts going, you're like, go. You get to run it down.
And you're like,
hit my job for me.
Go. Yeah. Then all you got to do is go in there for field goal. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll take it. Come slapping high fives. Yeah. The defense is mad because now the defense has to go right back out.
That is true.
It's tough on them.
Circling back to our conversation, so you guys are pretty much saying the key to teams that win close games and teams that blow close games is basically coaching, preparedness, mental toughness, and I believe Greg said belief, poise versus panic.
Yeah,
absolutely.
All right,
that sounds recipe for
I'll throw
a winner.
the word consistency in there as well, even though that wasn't a huge talking point. But all those together, it's just a matter of consistency.
Yeah, you can tell when a team has bad coaching because you can just see it all over the field. Even as a fan, even if some guy who's never sat in meetings or anything like that, I could see how disjointed people are on the field. And it's like, really? You guys didn't practice this? Come on. Real quick, we're going to move to, we all talked before the podcast, and Antonio Brown has issues. We all know this, but we wanted to talk about a little bit different angle on the issues that he has. Now, on October 15th, he allegedly wrecked a camera at his condo in Florida, and he also threw a bicycle at a security guard. Now, that's all bad and everything. He didn't get charged. He didn't get arrested. He is still with the Buccaneers, and there's no plans of getting him or cutting him or anything like that. But the HOA was the one that fought him hard, tooth and nail on this. They ended up dropping the charges. And you guys said you had some pretty fun HOA fight stories. So who wants to go first? I'm sitting in with my popcorn because I love HOA fight stories. I'll
Big
go with
Mac,
you, Greg.
You sipping the yak, Big Mac?
Still my birthday, baby.
There you go.
I love it.
I guess I'll go on story time. So HOAs, They're only good when your neighbor parks the 45-foot yacht in front of your house and you can call the HOA to move it. But that's only happens in Marcus's neighborhood, not mine. So my favorite HOA battle, it is one of my daughter's birthdays. So, we're going to put the jumpy house in the backyard and have some friends over. And I forgot to ask the gardener to come handle business the day before. So I asked him to come early in the morning. And granted, I know the HOA says 7:38, something like that. You can't use the leaf blower, the lawnmower, all that. I got him there at 7 a.m. He's a great dude, great worker. He came, he's cleaning up the yard with the leaf blower. Pisses off the neighbor across the street.
Oh, no.
Who is a very slow-moving, unstable, probably 70-plus-year-old man.
Oh, my God.
Comes out with his video camera, his camera phone, and starts recording the gardener with the leaf blower.
What?
The gardener gets pissed, walks over there. I happen to walk out, and I witness this old man attempting to start a physical fist fight, a man that can barely stand up on his own, with my gardener. And I literally go across the street to break them up from fighting. And it was all because he said the gardener was violating the HOA rule of using the leaf blower before 7:30. And I just put it all on me, man. Be mad at me. Wow. Fight me, old man. Not fight the gardener. Wow. But yeah, man, HOAs.
You got a little grumpy old man across the street, don't you?
Are you sure that wasn't me?
Super grumpy. Yeah, man.
Man. Oh, man. Let me see. How many times have I not gotten into it with my HOA? You know what I'm saying? I'm almost about to turn my house matte black one time just to make them upset. You know what I mean?
That'd be sweet, actually.
But you know what? That's actually what happened. One time, not the house matte black, but my gate. You have the gates and stuff. You're not supposed to be able to raise them after a certain height. I think they're supposed to be like maybe 5 feet or something outside or something like that. But I'm like 6'8". What I want a 5-foot gate for? Like I'm getting right over my
6 foot
gate.
Fences, man. That's the rule.
Yeah,
6 foot fences.
You know what I'm saying? So like me, I'm just getting out here. Just bought my first house. So I ain't even heard of a HOA. They ain't even got HOA in my old neighborhoods. You know what I'm saying? It's like every man for themselves. So I'm like, this is my house. How y'all gonna tell me what type of gate I can get? So I go and get the biggest, most obnoxious big black gate looking like the Wizard of Oz in front of my house.
Love this.
Then I put the chrome Big Mac on that thing. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow. It's not a car, Big Mac. It's a gate.
So I got this big decked out black gate with the chrome Big Mac on it. You know what I'm saying? And all they're doing, they're pissed. I can tell they're mad. They're leaving notes on my door like every day, like we're on the outside of the gate because they can't get into the front door. They can't get in anymore. So
like, the gate worked.
So, we went back and forth, you know what I'm saying? Eventually I moved back to Atlanta for a while. And when I moved, I took the big emblem off. So we kind of, you know what I'm saying? I conceded right there. I was like, all right, well, I'll take the Big Mac off the gate, but I'm not moving my gate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, it works out, you know what I mean? But it's good to have an HOA every once in a while.
So where's the Big Mac emblem right now? Is it a chain?
In the man cave.
There you go.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You got to keep it. I should have made it into a medallion. If it was 2008, 2009, I'd have put it, you know how we used to do, Greg.
Bling, I believe they called it back then.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Yes.
That was the dorkiest way of saying that ever. Bling, I believe they called it back then.
I can see you listening to it, Scrappy. Don't play. I can see.
Oh, dude, I love Chingy. Chingy was great. He was awesome. I was all into Chingy. I was into R. Kelly before all the weird stuff. Ignition Remix was my song in 2003 when I graduated high school. Yeah, I loved all that stuff. That was great stuff. E40.
Yeah.
I can go for it. I can go forever.
What were you listening to the day of the game of the sack? Just even if you don't remember, what would you have been listening to?
I do actually.
Gravy's got to be like a heavy metal pregame.
Oh yeah, it's called Napalm Death, Twist the Knife. It's like that's what I would listen to all the time before games.
Oh my God. Oh,
They're like, oh, he's getting pumped up to go stand on the sideline. Yeah.
I got to put that on my checklist of things not to listen to.
No, you have to listen to Napalm Death, Twist the Knife.
Nothing about it says add me to Spotify list.
Nothing at all.
Let's get back to football because I think I'm admitting too much about myself here. That's okay. We're going to talk about the Hail Murray. I love when people do this to the names, when they take someone's name, like a Hail Mary, and make a Hail Murray. I love it. I don't know why. But who did it better? Was it Kyler Murray's throw or DeAndre Hopkins' catch? Now, Kyler Murray, he had to throw kind of off balance, fall into his left a little bit, showing you how strong his arm is. And then you got DeAndre Hopkins in the end zone who just picked the ball out of the air. So I'm going to go start with the wide receiver, guy who's probably been in those Hail Mary scrums. What do you think, Kyler Murray's throw or DeAndre Hopkins' catch?
It's not even close, Gravy. Hopkins' catch was the greatest regular season catch that I have ever seen.
What?
It was glorious receiving beauty. Like, I could put that on my wall. Like, literally just print that out, put it on the wall. I mean, this dude had three guys, one in the front, one in the back, one on the side, and he just jumped higher than all of them, grabbed the ball, secured the catch, and came back down. There are very few human beings on this earth that have the athletic ability, the catch ability, the Hopkins ability to pull that off. And I love that it's called the Hail Murray.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
But that doesn't give Hopkins any credit. We need to figure out something catchy to give Hopkins all the credit. I mean, it was a great throw, but that catch was spectacular.
Did you see, before you get your answer, Marcus, did you see that the picture of him going up with the jump man on his gloves, catching the ball, they did like a valuation of how much free advertising Jumpman got out of that, and it was $5.8 million is how much they say they got in free advertising from that picture.
Ooh, just that one picture,
yeah, Jordan's gonna have to send him something for making $5.8 million of free advertising for him.
And it's the perfect logo for it too. It's not like it's just a random Adidas, the three stripes. It's the man jumping to get the ball with the jump man on there.
You need to make they need to make a silhouette of DeAndre Hopkins doing that.
I support that.
Yeah. What do you think, Marcus?
Back in the day, we would call those cornflakes. We call them cornflakes. You know what I'm saying? Because you know how you eat, you know how you have to eat cereal, you have to put your head over the bowl like that. Like that's how he caught the ball, like literally over the top of their heads. Like
okay, I see.
So we call those cornflakes. But I'm gonna give it to Kyler Murray, man. Like you said, the side step to the left with the fadeaway and the drop it in there, like that was a pretty accurate ball right there as well. Like he dropped it to the corner of that end zone like he was throwing it to D-Hops. So just the elusiveness that Kyler Murray showed to get away, to avoid the defensive lineman, the sidestep, and then throw it while he's falling out of bounds. The boy got touch. I got to give it to him. Hail Murray. You know what I'm saying?
Hail Murray. I love that. All right, last football-related topic before we get to our rapid fire, and that is going to be running back by committee. Do those backfields work? And I'm going to use the Ravens using their three running backs right now, and that is Mark Ingram, Dobbins, and Gus Edwards. And then you have the Bucs using the hot hand mentality, which is between Rojo and Leonard Fournette. So let's start with our offensive linemen. What do you think about running back by committee backfields? Do they work?
I think they work, but only for a matter of time. And to be honest, if you have two running backs of that caliber, the backup running back or the second running back of that tier is just, to me, auditioning for his next role at another team. You know, we had a great running back crew. We were here in San Diego with LT and Michael Turner, and we all knew eventually, Mike T was going to have to go because he was just good of a running back. So while
and Darren Sproles in that mix too, which is wild.
Yeah, D Sproles. So we had that three-headed beast, and it was great while it lasted, but the whole time you just continue to watch them get better, and you're like, sooner or later they're going to break up the band.
Yeah. That's true. I didn't think about it like that. What do you think, Greg, about running back by committee backfields? Do they work?
I love it. It's really a matter of how you approach it, though. So in the NFL, I'm a believer that it's too hard for one man to carry the entire load without getting hurt. And you look at someone like Christian McCaffrey, who's done it for a couple years, but then eventually gets hurt. There's too many big bodies landing on you. There's too much stress. You're going to be ridiculously sore every week.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have to share the load somehow. And I'll relate it to a personal experience. In 2008 in Miami, we had the best camaraderie of any receiver group that I ever been with. It was me, Ted Ginn, and Devon Best, basically handling 1, 2, and 3, but intermingling. Ted Ginn was obviously the number one, but the rotation was up to us, and that's what allowed it to work so well.
Interesting.
The coach, basically, our receiver coach basically gave us free reign to rotate ourselves in and out based on who was hot. So if you were getting love, if you were getting open, getting the ball, getting first downs, stay in. You know, things are working for you. Keep rolling. But then we also knew that, you know, I didn't get any love that drive. Swap somebody else in. Let's see how they can get it. And that worked out really well for us. We ended up with the three of us, 56, 55, and 54 catches. So clearly the rotation through the year worked out well, and it made for great camaraderie within the team, great chemistry with the quarterback. So I believe as long as you handle the rotation well and you got good respect in that position room, it can benefit the team.
I think the only caveat to this is that at the running back position, sometimes it takes a running back a little bit of time to kind of get it going. So when you snatch them in and out, it can also hurt them as well as help them, you know, because sometimes you find that guy who in the fourth quarter gets those heavy legs where, you know, he's running hard and he's running tall and he's heavy when he's coming through the hole. And that's just tough on defenses, you know, but it takes a little bit of breaking your legs in and getting a little bit of pounding on for you to actually catch that momentum and get to going. So like you can split the load between the two guys at the same time. You don't want to catch that guy who is on fire and then all of a sudden you take him out and, you know, he might have been poised to have a 150-yard game.
It's true.
Yeah, that is true. You can kind of see that too. Once a guy gets going, they abandon the second running back, because if he's going to rush for 75 yards in the first half, why are you going to break that up? You got a good thing going. Keep going with it.
Hey, I got a question for Big Mac from a perspective of an offensive lineman. Does it affect you who's running behind you? Do two different styles affect how you block?
I can't see nobody behind me, so it didn't affect me. Until they come out with the rear view cameras on the helmets, like, hey, you gotta follow,
no difference.
You gotta follow me regardless. You know, if anything, I try and give I would give my running back a little insight, you know what I mean, based off of how I feel like the defensive end or, you know, the defensive tackle might be playing, and I might just let them know, like, hey, listen, I'm gonna jump on this outside shoulder. It's gonna outrun him. You know, it's nothing he's going to be able to do, so just stay on my outside. So you can have those type of conversations with your backs. It doesn't really matter who it is, but it gives them a little insight on the way you're going to be running in your path, and that way they can pick a lane based off of where they see somebody sitting at.
Yeah.
Good question. Good answer. Good everything. I lied. We got one more thing before rapid fire. It's going to be really quick.
Don't lie,
McKinley.
Raven.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I really wanted to ask this, but it was just below the screen, so I scrolled down and I saw it. But Takk McKinley was with the Falcons. He was the guy who got on stage after he got drafted, who dropped an F-bomb during live TV and then said, "Find me later, man. Find me later." And Deion's like, "I love your heart and your passion, but I need you to harness that right now." It's one of my favorite moments of all time draft, when he's telling him on the on TV to calm down a little bit. But he was not happy with his team, the Falcons. He even tweeted out clown emojis talking about his front office and all of that. So they let him go, and the Bengals picked him up. But today it was announced that Takk failed his physical with the Bengals, and he's going to go back to waivers. So I just want to get your guys' thoughts on Takk, and number one, how he handled things. But also, I think it's pretty interesting to figure out what the heck happens when you guys have a physical, because I always see on TV and in Twitter, he's signed pending physical. It's like, is it like me where I go to the doctor's office and they cut my you-know-whats and I cough to the left and that's it? Or are they like giving you like mental tests and things of that nature? Like what goes on during a physical in the NFL?
Don't let them cuff them that hard. It's
Yeah, I don't know why I went with that, but I did. So we'll keep moving. But what is it? What is a physical all about?
Oh man, the physicals with NFL teams. I mean, think about, Scraby, if you were buying a car for $10 million.
Oh, that's an expensive car.
Or let's even make it $1 million or a $500,000 car.
Very
We'll
much.
go with a
He played
a
for the
rookie
Dolphins.
minimum.
He played for the Dolphins. He's used to seeing those type of cars.
Yeah.
All right, Scraby, you're spending $20,000 on a brand new Honda.
Thank you. More my speed.
And they give you a chance to evaluate everything on it before you sign, saying, I'm going to pay for it. Are you going to just like kick a tire real quick and make sure it works? Or are you going to check out everything?
I probably am not going to check out everything, but I'm going to look.
Are you going to cuff its turn signal and tell it to stop?
Probably not.
All right.
Probably not, to be honest.
So the NFL teams don't agree with you. They want to check out everything. So every year, before a season, you have a massive physical. And I'm talking about they measure how strong you can breathe. They measure your reaction time. They measure your eyesight. I had one, and we're going to get graphic with this, that had me pull down my pants, bend over, and cough. And they wanted a rear view of that situation. What? To this day, I do not know why. That sounds like a lawsuit investigation. If that ever comes up,
it sounds like it's on the internet somewhere.
It was really bad. But anyway, I passed. So whatever they were looking for, I passed.
Was this a physical you coming back from Cabo?
Sorry, man. That was the one night I got arrested. No.
My favorite was Marcus's face when you said that, because I'm assuming Marcus has never had to do that in his NFL career.
I mean, that's the face. That's the face I made when they asked me to do it. After 65 guys just did the same thing.
What?
I still felt violated.
What are you going to prison? That is so weird. That is so weird.
I got to get back to the point.
Was it so Joe Philbin? Just kidding. I know you won't.
Oh man. So the point is, Scraby, if you're trying to hide something, you cannot hide it. If
like
your knee hurts,
2 pounds of cocaine.
Trying to hide a back injury or illegal drugs, they're gonna find it. So yeah, man, you're not passing a physical if something's wrong with you. I'll tell you that right now.
I'm still reeling from what we just heard.
Let's not make this the 1 minute clip for Twitter. How about that?
Oh, we just made it.
We won't.
Do not make
we'll
it.
Let them do it. Just time. Yeah, we'll timestamp this one. You're gonna have to scroll through the file.
Okay, I'm gonna say like the Greg Camarillo starfish story or something. But what about you, Marcus? Obviously, you've never done that, but you have thoughts.
Yeah. I mean, coming out of college, I was dealing with some issue with my back. So the combine, it was stressful for me. A lot of guys who are healthy and don't really have any ailment, they know that they're going to be all right. When you have something looming, like me having a back injury, when I'm coming back from my physicals after I'm in the league and I just had neck surgery, like you don't know what's going on in there. I feel fine, but at the same time, we won't know until I take MRIs and scans, and it's a little nerve wracking, to me, I felt like the worst experience was the combine when you have all the doctors looking at you at one time. So now like my day is extended because I have all these teams that have these question marks and they're pulling at you, tugging on you, I can't say, I had to do everything, but I had to do it. I had to do a lot, you know what I'm saying? And it was just tough on me, not only like physically, but like mentally, because you don't know how it's going to affect you. And unfortunately for me, like because I had back issues, I fell in the draft from where I thought I was going to be, a first round pick to, drop into the second round, so at first I was upset about that because I felt like, I was the best. Well, I knew I was the best tackle in our draft, so I didn't understand how, I can be one of the fifth one taken. So I was upset about that, but I just used it, to be honest, to put a chip on my shoulder and to go out and play, tougher to show guys that, regardless of what they're saying, I'm the best, and it helped me out my rookie year, to go out there and compete. But it can be nerve-wracking. So especially if you fail, you know what I mean? Because it's your livelihood. Yeah. It's your livelihood. To be honest, this is the way you bring the check home. So you don't never want to, a stamp of failure on you to where you can't get back out there and compete like you want to make some money for your family,
Really, really good stuff there. I did need to know what Greg said. I did. But I don't know. Well, I'm just going to move on. I'm trying to think of something funny to say. It's just feels so stunning. I can't think of anything to say. So we're going to move into our final segment.
Greg, before we go, Greg, you can refuse treatment. Okay. Just future down the line. If something happens and it's a hospital.
I said, did I pass or do you need me to do it again? You just let me know.
Oh, what a trooper. What a trooper. Oh, talk about cornflakes. All right.
Put on your word association hats because it's rapid fire time.
All right, first name on the rapid fire list, and we're just going to go snake draft. Greg, Marcus, Greg, and pretty much word association. And we're going to start with the guy we just talked about, Tack McKinley. Greg.
Burnt bridges. Don't burn bridges in the NFL. You're gonna need them to keep your career alive. Don't burn bridges.
Marcus?
We're gonna still got it. He still got it, but like Greg said, burnt bridges is gonna be hard for him to prove himself again.
Right back to you, Marcus. Larry Fitzgerald.
Goat.
Yeah. Like it. Greg, Larry Fitzgerald.
I was thinking similar, but he's the GOAT that's not the actual GOAT. Like, everybody loves him. He is an absolutely amazing receiver. He's not better than Jerry Rice, so he can't be the GOAT, but he is like the GOAT of this era.
He's Arizona GOAT.
There you go.
He's Arizona GOAT.
Dry hot weather GOAT.
Yeah. I met him one time, and he was so nice and such an awesome dude that it was a lasting impact on me that he was so nice. Greg, Brian Flores.
Oh, the future. This dude has a team without as much talent playing to win their division. And I know the Bills are in the way, but they're actually looking like they could win. They have 2 first-round picks next year and 2 second-round picks next year. The Dolphins have a bright future, and that's why I wore my Dolphins shirt for tonight.
I knew there was some reason behind it. Marcus, Brian Flores.
The Bill Belichick successor. I think he's stepping into that thing to take over. They really want a shot at that division, and I don't think it's just for a year. I think they want to keep it,
Yeah, it's funny how some of the Bill Belichick disciples don't really work out. Like Matt Patricia's having a tough time in Detroit. Josh McDaniels had a tough time when he left and went to Denver. Blanking on some other guys, but it happens. But Brian Flores looks like he's going to not be a part of that trend.
I got to slow down rapid fire real quick. The one thing that I love the most about Brian Flores, the Dolphins last year were literally trying to tank, got rid of all of their talent. They were forever. And the guys still had so much faith in him that they went out and won games, even though it really was costing them a draft pick. And to keep a team without talent afloat and fighting is what a coach is supposed to do, and he did an excellent job of it.
All right, Marcus, we're moving over to we're going to go 2 Rams in a row, but the first Ram is going to be Jalen Ramsey.
Ooh. DK Metcalf exposure?
Ooh.
Maybe? I don't know.
Looks like it was.
I don't know. The only reason why I can't completely say that is because when I saw how many times they targeted DK Metcalf in the game, I was a little disappointed. I wanted Russ to try him a little bit more so that we could see that matchup a little bit more throughout the game, but they just shied away from him.
Greg, Jalen Ramsey.
He's paid and well paid. The dude, they gave him a massive contract, but he's earning every bit of it. And when you got a guy like that can allow someone like Aaron Donald a couple more seconds to rush, it's a great combination.
Back to you, Greg. Sean McVay, head coach of the Rams.
Ooh, an adapter. So last couple years, they were all about the pass game. That's not working as well this year, but they've learned to establish an outstanding run game and an amazing defense. So he adapts to the talent he has, and he's done a hell of a job of it.
Marcus Sean McVay.
Ready for the big lights, Mr. Hollywood. When I see him on the sideline, like, he looks like he's ready for a camera to be in his face. Like the way he jogs up and down the field, interacts with his team. You know, he's almost like Dabo, like younger, more debonair Dabo Sweeney. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's giving me everything he wants. You know what I'm saying? But I like the energy he brings to the team. I think that one of the LA teams is going to have to put their stamp on the city and see who's it's going to be. And right now, the Rams seem to be beating out the Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
The Chargers are third. The Raiders aren't in LA, but they definitely got a bigger stamp than the Chargers do.
Yeah, you know what we were talking about on the show today? That none of the TV people have an issue with remembering Las Vegas Raiders, but they still, to this day, call them the San Diego Chargers. It's crazy to me that so many people are still doing it. I wonder if they're just trolling, to be honest, because at this point it's been like 4 years, right? They haven't been in San Diego in quite some time.
It was a bad breakup. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
Those things linger around sometimes.
One of these days we're gonna get into your guys' thoughts on the Chargers and all that.
Oh no.
Yes. I believe Marcus is up, and we talked about him a little bit earlier. Alvin Kamara.
Mr. Everything. You know, he
like
can
that.
do it all. He can do it all. You know, he's a complete back, you know, explosive. He has the big plays. He's smart. You know what I mean? He can block, catch out the backfield. He's everything you need in a running back.
Greg, Alvin Kamara.
The best running back. And he's also like the leading receiver. And for a quarterback to know that if I don't have to force it downfield, I can just dump it to him and everything's going to be fine, that makes everything so much better.
I mean, I see the decision process on the field. Look down the field. Okay, Alvin Kamara's right there. I'm going to give it to him, and he's going to run it 60 yards down the field.
Isn't that great to know that just, okay, no, boom, let's go.
Yeah, that's quick. Quick and easy.
No, go. No.
Last one for you guys, and we're going to go with you, Greg. Lamar Jackson.
Oh, man. I mean, he's a monster, but people are learning him. Good, not great. Can I give that response? Good, not great.
Yeah.
The man is fun to watch, and he is absolutely a franchise quarterback, but he's not in the same level as someone like Patrick Mahomes and Russell Wilson.
Interesting, after coming off the MVP last year. All right, last one, Marcus. Lamar Jackson.
Next level. You know, he's a next level type quarterback. The one guy that you have to game plan when you come in and you're playing the Baltimore Ravens week in and week out. You know it. I think he has a very accurate ball on him. You know, it kind of gets overshadowed because he is so athletic, but I think as he gets older and he starts believing in, you know, his pocket awareness and the way that he can throw the ball down the field and get him some more weapons, I think he can be right there on Patrick Mahomes' hip, and they'll be, you know, side by side like they were last year.
Awesome. Well, that is it for episode number 4 of Two Pros and a Joe. Let's just do some cleanup real quick. Please go and subscribe and review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Just search the number 2 Pros and a Joe, or go to any of our social media platforms. Catch Camarillo at Marcus McNeil 73 at Matt Scraby. And we want to keep doing this. We've gotten tons of great feedback. So please, everyone out there, comment on Greg's story that he told us earlier.
Oh, man.
I have a feeling, do you regret that now, that story that you told us?
No.
If it gets us a few viewers, it's all right, man.
Okay. All right.
It's not as though I'm any more exposed in this podcast than I was at that moment.
No.
On that note,
Catch Camarillo has a whole new meaning for me now. Like, I can't.
Oh, it totally does.
I don't know what to say about it.
Hey, why are you feeling so bad? I don't know. I think I caught Camarillo. On that note, we are going to take off. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to Greg Camarillo, one of our pros. Thank you to Marcus McNeil, our other pro. And thank you to me, the Joe. And we will be with you next week for another edition of Two Pros and a Joe. Peace out. Have a good weekend, Good week, everybody.